Okay, so I just told you that the nephron is the functional unit of the kidney. Let's take a closer look at nephrons. First off, this diagram roughly shows the position of the nephron within the kidney. About 80% of our nephrons are what we call cortical nephrons, where most of the nephron is going to lie in the cortex of the kidney, okay? About 20% are these special nephrons that we call juxtamedullary nephrons. Don't worry about the name, but they dip deep into the medulla of the kidney. All right, taking a look at nephron structure, blood coming into the nephron is going to approach the nephron via this capillary bed called the glomerulus, okay? What happens with the fluid in the capillary bed is that it actually kind of leaves the capillary bed and then enters the nephron through this structure called Bowman's capsule. It then moves through this structure here called the proximal tubule. It then moves on to this whole structure here, which we refer to as the loop of Henle. So we can think of the loop of Henle as consisting of the descending limb and the ascending limb, okay? Once we go through the loop of Henle, we enter the distal tubule, and then from the distal tubule, we exit via the collecting duct, okay? So that's the nephron for you. I want to introduce these terms right here. We have a term called filtrate, which is the fluid that is inside the nephron, okay? We call that filtrate. And then this term right here, the tubule, is basically the nephron. Okay, so it's basically this whole structure is the tubule. Okay, all right. So one more thing I want to say about nephron structure is that typically you'll see the nephron illustrated like this for clarity. However, in reality, the actual anatomy of the nephron is like this, where it's kind of like folded over on itself, okay? So you see the kind of the distal tubule coming over and folding over next to Bowman's capsule like this, okay? So yeah, that's what it looks like in reality. Okay, last thing that I want to touch on in talking about kidney anatomy is the renal portal system. Okay, so I want to start by reminding you that we have three portal systems in our bodies. One of our portal systems is in the kidneys. I also want to remind you a portal system is a system where we have blood leaving the heart and then encountering two capillary beds before we return to the heart. Okay, so where are those two capillary beds here? The first capillary bed is the glomerulus here. I want to remind you that fluid from the glomerulus is going to move into the nephron for processing. Our second capillary bed is this series of capillaries that kind of surrounds the whole rest of the nephron. It's called the peritubular capillaries. And these peritubular capillaries are picking up those items that we have decided to reabsorb into our bodies so that those items can then be like re-enter our circulation. Okay, so the peritubular capillaries are going to eventually empty over to the renal vein.